There's an ancient wisdom that most people will never understand. A truth so powerful that those who master it become untouchable, while those who ignore it find themselves constantly under attack, drained, and struggling. What I'm about to share with you isn't just spiritual advice. It's battlefield intelligence for souls who've been called to walk a different path. You see, when you're awakened, when you're spiritually sensitive, when you carry light in a dark world, you become a target, not just from negative people, but from forces you can't even see. And the biggest mistake awakened souls make is thinking they need to be an open book to everyone. Today, I want to reveal 7 sacred boundaries that every awakened soul must guard if they want to not just survive but thrive in their spiritual journey. The first sacred boundary is your energetic frequency. Most people have no idea that they're constantly broadcasting their internal state to the world. Your emotions, your thoughts, your spiritual vibrations are like radio signals that others can tune into, whether they realize it or not. Energy vampires, narcissists, and spiritually dark individuals are naturally drawn to high-vibration souls because they can feed off your light. But here's what they don't teach you in most spiritual circles. You have every right to guard your energy fiercely. You don't owe anyone access to your inner world. You don't have to be available to every person who wants to dump their problems on you. You don't have to absorb other people's pain just because you're empathetic. Learning to create energetic boundaries means becoming selective about who gets access to your time, attention, and emotional investment. It means recognizing the difference between genuine souls seeking help and energy predators looking for their next victim. The second sacred boundary is your spiritual gifts and abilities. If you're truly awakened, you likely have abilities that most people don't understand. Maybe you're intuitive, maybe you see things others don't, maybe you can sense energies or predict outcomes. Here's the mistake most awakened souls make. They think they need to prove their gifts to skeptics or use them to impress others. This is spiritual suicide. Your gifts weren't given to you to entertain doubters or to gain approval from people who will never understand your path anyway. When you constantly try to validate your abilities to others, you dilute their power. Worse, you invite negative entities and jealous individuals to interfere with your spiritual development. Some gifts are meant to be kept sacred, used only when divinely guided, and shared only with those who truly need and deserve them. The third sacred boundary is your healing journey and past traumas. There's this toxic positivity culture that makes awakened souls feel like they need to constantly share their healing story, their transformation, their deepest wounds with everyone. But your healing journey isn't a testimony for public consumption. Yes, your story might help someone someday, but that doesn't mean you owe it to everyone who asks. Your trauma isn't entertainment. Your healing isn't content for social media. Some parts of your journey are sacred between you and the divine. Some wounds need to be healed in private before they can become wisdom for others. Rushing to share your deepest pain often re-traumatizes you and attracts people who want to keep you stuck in victim consciousness. The fourth sacred boundary is your spiritual practices and rituals. In today's Instagram spirituality world, everyone wants to show off their meditation corner, their crystal collection, their spiritual practices. But true spiritual power comes from the sacred work you do in secret. Your prayers, your meditations, your rituals, your connection with the divine, these aren't meant to be performed for an audience. When you constantly document and share your spiritual practices, you turn sacred communion into spiritual materialism. The most powerful spiritual warriors I know keep their practices private. They don't need to prove how spiritual they are because they're too busy actually being spiritual. They understand that sacred work loses its power when it becomes a performance. The fifth sacred boundary is your prophetic insights and visions. If you're truly awakened, you likely receive downloads, visions, prophetic dreams, or intuitive insights about the future. This is both a gift and a responsibility. Not every vision is meant to be shared publicly. Some insights are given to you for personal preparation. Some are meant only for specific individuals at specific times. And some are tests to see if you can be trusted with greater spiritual responsibilities. The moment you start turning every spiritual download into social media content or trying to build a following based on predictions, You've crossed from prophet to performer. True prophetic gifts come with the wisdom to know when to speak and when to remain silent. The sixth sacred boundary is your financial blessings and abundance. When the universe starts blessing you financially, when your manifestation abilities improve, when you start experiencing abundance, the temptation is to share your excitement with everyone. But advertising your blessings is like painting a target on your back. Suddenly everyone becomes your friend. Everyone has investment opportunities for you. Everyone has emergencies that only your money can solve. Worse, you attract the attention of those who practice financial witchcraft and want to block your continued prosperity. True abundance consciousness includes the wisdom to be grateful privately, to use your blessings wisely, and to understand that not everyone deserves to know the details of your financial life. Stealth wealth is spiritual protection. The seventh and most important sacred boundary is your divine assignment and soul mission. If you're awakened, you didn't come to Earth just to pay bills and die. You have a specific mission, a divine assignment that only you can fulfill. But here's the trap: thinking you need to announce your mission to get support, validation, or followers. Your real mission doesn't need external validation. It doesn't require a platform or an audience to be valid. It requires obedience, consistency, and faithful action, even when no one is watching. The enemy's greatest weapon against awakened souls is distraction, getting you so focused on building a spiritual brand, gaining followers, or impressing other people that you neglect the quiet, consistent work your soul actually came here to do. Some of the most powerful souls I know work in complete anonymity. They're teachers who will never write books, healers who will never have websites, warriors who will never have social media followings. But they're changing the world through their faithful service to their divine assignment. Now I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking this sounds selfish, unloving, or not aligned with spiritual principles of sharing and openness. Let me be clear. There's a massive difference between healthy spiritual boundaries and fearful isolation. Boundaries aren't walls. They're gates with discernment as the gatekeeper. You can still be loving, helpful, and supportive while maintaining sacred boundaries. In fact, proper boundaries make you more effective in your service because you're operating from strength rather than depletion. The awakened path isn't about being an open vessel for everyone to pour into. It's about becoming a clear, protected channel for divine love and wisdom to flow through you to those who truly need it. Here's what happens when you implement these 7 sacred boundaries. First, your energy stabilizes. You stop feeling drained, anxious, or overwhelmed by other people's problems. Second, your spiritual gifts strengthen because they're no longer being diluted by overuse or misuse. Third, your healing accelerates because you're no longer constantly reopening wounds for public display. Fourth, your spiritual practices deepen because they become sacred communion rather than performance art. Fifth, your prophetic accuracy increases because you're no longer rushing to share every insight for validation. Sixth, your abundance increases because you're no longer leaking prosperity through poor boundaries. And seventh, your divine mission becomes clearer because you're no longer distracted by the need for external approval. But here's the most important part. These boundaries will be tested. People who are used to having unlimited access to your energy will not be happy when you start saying no. They'll accuse you of being selfish, unspiritual, or not walking in love. This is the test. Will you maintain your sacred boundaries even when others try to manipulate you into dropping them? Will you choose spiritual protection over people-pleasing? Will you honor your divine calling even when others don't understand it? Remember, Jesus himself withdrew from crowds to pray. He didn't heal everyone who wanted healing. He didn't share all his wisdom with everyone who asked. Even the Son of God maintained boundaries, and you have the same right. Your awakening isn't about becoming available to everyone. It's about becoming available to the divine and then serving from that place of connection and strength. So today I challenge you to examine your current boundaries. Where are you leaking energy? Where are you sharing what should be kept sacred? Where are you performing instead of communing? Where are you seeking validation instead of divine approval? Your soul's journey is sacred. Treat it that way. Guard what needs to be guarded. Share what's meant to be shared. And trust that the divine will guide you in knowing the difference. The world needs awakened souls who are spiritually strong, energetically protected, and divinely aligned. It doesn't need more spiritual performers, energy-depleted empaths, or awakened souls who've lost their power through poor boundaries. You are sacred. Your gifts are sacred. Your mission is sacred. And sacred things require sacred boundaries. Guard them wisely. Your spiritual evolution depends on it.